Hello there, my name is Kgadi Mmanakana and your partner in gaining competitive advantage and the only possibilitarian. And today I remembered that, I've never really introduced my book. I've launched my book in August 2022, that's this year, right? And I've never really, announced it per se or said anything about what it is all about besides the article that I actually published on LinkedIn and on my website, of which I'm going to put it in the, if you're on YouTube, then the link to the article will be in the description box right below, right? So but if you're not on there, you can go to my website, which is kgadimmanakanana.co.za. so if you're seeing this on Facebook, or if you're on Medium, or if you're on, what is the other thing, LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, then Kgadi Mmanakana is my name and surname there, and .co.za, and then you'll go to the articles and insights section, and then you get to see the article that I'm talking about. And I realized that I've never really shared what this book, the inspiration behind it, what is it all about and stuff like that. And today I wanted to do that. So the title of the book is Gain Competitive Advantage, 10 Practical Strategies You Can Use to Unlock Employee Engagement, Drive Team Performance, and Build Resilience to Maintain Relevance in a constantly changing world. So oftentimes I say changing world or market environment, but in this case, I wanted to specifically highlight constantly changing world, right? Because the world that I'm talking about is both the internal and external world. Sometimes we are challenged. There's a disruption that happens inside of us, right? In terms of how we think, how we do things, and our way of being, right? So I wanted to be specific that this is about the world, not necessarily the market, because the market now, it's so businessy only, but also we're talking about you as an individual, as a leader. So today what I want to share is what the book is all about, why I wrote the book, and what the book is all about, right? The reason why I wrote the book first was because I spent the past 6 years or so working in the startup community as a business strategy consultant to entrepreneurs and SMEs, helping them build and grow their own businesses, right? And the bug of speaking full time, I'm more of a teacher, I'm driven by problem solving. So I was drawn towards speaking more, right? And I exited the consulting space, the small business consulting space. October, the decision was made last year, October 2021, on my birthday, the 2nd. And I decided I want to get into the corporate speaking, right? Speaking, motivational speaking, and specifically because I felt now it was time for me. It was two things, it was driven by two things. Fundamentally, I'm a problem solver. My brain is wired to solve problems. And the problems at the time, the past 6 years, the problem that I was solving was startup failure, right? That's how I was contributing. That's how I was actually, stimulating my problem-solving brain, right, in the startup community. But I was drawn more because the speaking thing came to me when I was 16 years old. I started speaking when I was 16 years old, but I was doing it, because I wasn't sure this is a thing that could be a career. But as I grew, I realized that, it can actually be a career. So I decided that I want to go back to my first love, speaking, because when I say my first love is because it's the only thing that when I really do, when I'm on stage, when I speak, it's like I'm downloading on high internet speed, it makes me come alive. It makes me come alive, right? And possibly could tell from this video that I'm actually alive, right? That's what speaking does to me. And that coupled with the fact that I'm passionate about, creating possibilities of success for people and businesses, and also problem solving. So that's it. That's when I packaged, I want to do corporate speaking. Because the reason for corporate speaking is because I realized two things. One is about performance. Every organization talks about high performance teams, talks about, KPIs and stuff like that. But one thing I know that is that I've done a lot of work with people. From the time I was still 19, doing the civil society work, doing NPO work and stuff like that, engaging with people, motivational speaking and stuff like that, I know people understand people. And I know how to connect with people. And I know that before you have an employee, which I think most organizations don't get this one right, before your employee is your employee, there is a human being behind them. the human being first. So you cannot actually, you're not allowed to expect high performance from a person who's distorted, who's not intact, right? So that's something that I realized. No, most organizations, they're too clinical about business. It's like business. I don't want to hear anything else. I just want you to deliver. But they don't know that a person, you need to develop their intrinsic motivation, right? You need to understand the people, when people feel like they cared for, when they feel that they belong, when they feel that, you know what, they feel good about themselves. When you're not at your best, you cannot give your best. And for me, I was like, that's where I can actually help. I can help these organizations get their teams at their best, feel good, so that they can be able to do their jobs. I'm not going to be teaching nobody to do how to do their jobs. They already know how to do the job, but they don't have the willingness, the vitality to actually do the job at a level that is required. Why? Because they're human beings with a story, and human beings with sometimes a life that is falling apart. And human beings can only keep it together to a certain extent, right? But if you go into work every day 9 to 5, how long will you actually keep it together? You're gonna burn out, right? So that's something that I really want to help organizations with. So hence I decided that I want to focus on employee engagement. That's what the first thing. I want to help organizations, drive and unlock employee engagement in their teams. So that's the first thing, because I understand people, I know people. I can connect with people. So that's why I actually wrote this book. Even if you see the first thing, it talks about human beings, people here, getting the best out of people, because it's about the strategies that you can use to unlock employee engagement, drive team performance, and build resilience to maintain relevance in a constantly changing world. Organizations already know that employees are the greatest assets. But how many of those assets are actually engaged in their work? Check a lot of memes that are currently trending. How many times your employees are thinking about knocking off, or how many of your employees are actually actively applying to get out of your job, of your organization, or how many of them are actually okay, right? So most, you find that they're actually falling apart, but KPIs are KPIs, right? But I want to help with that. Hence I wrote this book. This book was to introduce me to the corporate sector as a speaker, right? And to also say, this is what I'm going to focus on. If you check the strategies, the 10 strategies that I'm talking about, they're more culture and leadership focused. So I'm introducing the importance of brave leadership and courageous culture in the organization, right? And in the book, I actually unpack what that looks like, because I've realized that I've got to learn, even from my own path, personal path, that brave leadership and courageous culture is the best place to have competitive advantage, right? And the strategies that I've chosen, they're all leadership and culture embedded. Because your team, there is no way you can talk about innovation, being disruptive and high performance and things like that without talking about your employee. Because at the end of the day, it is the employee that has to be innovative, come up with new disrupting business models and stuff like that. For you to build, to adapt quickly, you need the buy-in of your employees. How do you get them to do that, right? So hence it's more culture and leadership focused, because you have the power as a leader. You have the power to do everything, to make the innovation to happen, right? To help your organization to adapt quickly. It's all in your hands, but it's all about, is your leadership and culture really conducive, enabling, right? Do people feel that they belong in the organization, right? So the strategy is all about making employee engagement your business strategy, enabling innovation, practicing brave leadership, unlocking the dividend of diversity and inclusion, cultivating a courageous culture, being agile, adapting, keeping your ear on the ground for marketing, customer intelligence, becoming a disruptor, and being a thought leader. So these are the 10 strategies that I unpack in the book, and how they can help you unlock employee engagement, drive team performance, and also build resilience so that you can maintain relevance in a constantly changing world. And the last part of the maintaining relevance is the second reason why I wrote the book. So here's the thing. Whether in our personal lives or careers or in business, we're living in a fast-changing world, right? We're always getting disrupted. Things change. Like years ago, we thought, going to school, getting good grades, was the thing that will guarantee you to get a job and be successful in life. But it's not like that, right? Getting married doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a good marriage and stuff like that, right? So it's just a whole lot of things. It's like the rules of success have changed and continue to change every day. So that disruption, the fact that I'm trying with the book, second reason that I'm trying to pull the curtain on the fact that the changes that are happening is not only about the fourth industrial revolution. It's not only about that. It's also about understanding the culture, the workplace dynamics. People right now are talking about toxic workplaces. There's a DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion on the radar. We have ESGs, like topics of that. So those are just the things that shows that things are changing. And you need to adapt to those things, because organizations that are going to exist for the next decade or so are the ones that are going to adapt to the current, changes that are happening in the society, in the industry, in the market, right? So this is a thing to try and inspire leaders to lean in and warm up to the idea of being agile enough to adapt to this constantly changing world if they are to maintain relevance in the market. And from the introduction of the book, I actually highlight, this is the introduction of the book, what inspired me to write the book. Like I said, I used my own personal story, the idea of brave leadership and courageous culture, being the birthplace of competitive advantage is what I also experienced in my own journey, right? So here it goes. This is how things change. This is like an illustration of how sometimes things change. So here's how it goes. In the phase of change, disruption, crisis, recession, sabotage, or rude awakening, what do? Dealt a bad hand, born poor, top student with no money to further your studies, stuck in living a lie, business model threatened, quarantined economy, industrial revolution, intense competition, profit crisis, personal values in the way of business success? The answer to my animated question, what to do in the phase of change, disruption, crisis, recession, sabotage, or rude awakening, is brave the call to embrace and adapt to change. Use that moment of awakening to follow the facts and sometimes the truth, your personal truth, the shared ground that people who were born in poverty, suffering, or who were dealt a bad hand that landed them in suffering and end up dying without experiencing the birth and comfortable side of life have with businesses that get out of business or fail is the self-sabotage. And self-sabotage in a sense that they both had a moment of awareness that gave them an opportunity to break out of suffering or save their businesses, and they didn't go for it. It is no longer exclusive news that we are living in a constantly changing world where industries rise and fall, the mighty falls and startups rise up, society shifts and economies get quarantined. And the changes that are happening are not only technical, affecting how we do business. They are also personal, disrupting and challenging even our own mindsets, the way of being, doing, and thinking. And here is the part that I actually want to show you how disruption happened in my life, right? 17 years ago, I was a 10-year-old in a local library with 2 books titled Forensic Science and Crime Scene Investigation. 10 years ago, I was a 17-year-old at a local police station having a meeting with a captain and a detective inquiring about what it takes to work as a forensic detective in South Africa. 9 years ago, I was a top matric achiever at my school with 4 distinctions, including my favorite subject, physical science, and had 3-year experience in motivational speaking and tutoring at my school. 8 years ago, I was analyzing metal microstructure in a laboratory as a metallurgical engineering student at Vaal University of Technology. 7 years ago, I was financially excluded and found myself for the 3rd consecutive year fighting to raise funds for my studies, worn out, feeling betrayed by the system and not understanding why I couldn't get a shot and finish my studies, because I was promised that if I can get good grades, surely I will go to varsity, graduate, and get a job. 6 years ago, I was back at Vaal University, depressed and at war with myself, trying to decide whether to take a study break with no guarantee of getting a funder next year and risk failing to break my family out of poverty, or monetize my passions to create employment and generate income for myself as I nurture my mental health. 4 years ago, I was a solely strategy consultant in my own company, managing to pay my bills. Few months ago, I braved a window of opportunity to come out as a gay woman publicly on social media. And here's why it was important for me to be that elaborate in those timelines. One, it shows how we are prone to disruption and how the rules of success have changed. I'm going to skip a few pages and go to the second one because there I also unpack. So the video is going to be long. Two, it shows how what it takes to thrive amidst disruption is just braving that truth, that path, that awareness that says, this is it, no matter how scary or inconvenient it may be. So that's the second reason why I wrote the book, to shine light on how we're all prone to disruption. And I've just highlighted how I was disrupted. As a smart, what we call a smart and intelligent kid, academic excellence, right? But then I was disrupted. Fist muscle came. All those things came. You remember like how it changed from metallurgical engineering, from forensic science, metallurgy to strategy consulting. And today I'm an author. I'm speaking. Things change. How am I still here? Because it is heartbreaking to be a young little girl from the village who believed that education was the only key to success. You get good grades, which she got, and then you go to varsity, graduate, get a job, and then you're all set up for life. It is heartbreaking for that little girl to realize that 2 years in, that's not how it works. Go back home, right? But how am I still here after being dealt a bad hand? After the disruption, how am I still here? I adapted. I built my resilience. And it takes braving. Hence, brave leadership encourages culture. Hence, I introduce those two as the birthplace of competitive advantage. And it's all in the book. So please do get the book, right? Please do get the book, because I didn't write this for myself. I wrote this because we all need it. But specifically, I wrote it for the team leaders, right? If team leaders here, we're talking about anyone who's leading people. If there are people that you're leading in your organization, this book is going to help you, because it also unpacks some of the topics that are currently happening, and it's practical. So it's about what you can do, is the practical strategies, right? So how do you lead diverse teams? How do you become more inclusive, right? It's about how do you enable innovation? How can you unlock employee engagement, inspire performance in your team? These are the things that you can actually implement right away. So do get it. The book currently is on my website and also on Amazon. So it's available both in print. It's also available as an ebook and also with the Kindle edition, right? So to get it, you can go to Amazon, right? Or you can just go to my website, kgadimanakana.co.za/books, and then you're gonna get it, and you're gonna get all the versions, and then you can just buy them. Otherwise, wherever you're seeing this video, you can just DM me, send me a text and say, you know what, I would like that book. And also encourage you to also order this, procure this for your team, right? Buy it in bulk. It will actually make a great investment in your team. So do get the book for your team members. And yeah. And also invite me. Did I just introduce myself? Did I mention that I'm actually now, this book was actually, the first person was actually introducing me to the corporate market, corporate speaking circuit. So yes, meaning I'm available for keynote speaking. So if you loved the energy, if they intrigued you, maybe it's time you invited me into your organization so that we can talk, right? My website, kgadimanakana.co.za, is the one that will highlight the topics or the themes that I unpack. But the key thing for me is employee engagement. So I'm hoping to touch ground at your organization soon, and I'm hoping to get your orders very soon. Thank you so much.